doesn't want to be a cowboy sweetheart? I mean, come on. All my Texans are chiming in here because they're like, yeah, this just feels like a Wednesday. What are you talking about? We see two people with hats on. We hear some Patsy Montana from the 1930s. Yeah, we're just having a Wednesday. Welcome to the roundup for the mentor coordinators, Return to the Corral. Y'all have been here before, I know, because I recognize some of your names on the registration list. And so welcome back to the Corral. I am from Indiana and now live in Seattle, so I'm not really a cowgirl. Surprise, surprise. And neither is my Hoosier colleague, Gina, but we would like to welcome you nonetheless. We are your cowhands for today, and we are so, so glad that you're here. Howdy, Gina, and thanks for coming.
Always happy to be your sidekick, my friend.
Yeehaw, let's do it. We have some fun planned today. So I especially want your camera on if you are wearing any cowboy gear. Last time we did this, we had some folks who really wanted to play with their kerchiefs and their hats and their long coats, and it was very exciting and very fun. That might not work in your office, totally fine. But if you are in cowboy gear, I certainly want to see you. We have probably between 200 and 300 people on the call today, so I'm going to love it if your mics are muted while you're not speaking, and then you unmute them when it's time to speak, and you can use your Zoom hand to unmute and participate. And we are going to take advantage of the Q&A for any Q's you have, and we will give you the A's. So Gina is going to be handling that, and we will pause periodically as well to answer any questions that you have about the things we're doing. This will probably be familiar to those of you who were on our call in January. And if you were not on that call in January, I would direct you to the BNI Team USA YouTube channel, and you will find the recording of the roundup. Just do on that channel, do a little search for roundup, and I bet you'll find it, and that will give you a little bit more context. We'll go through these quickly since we have already covered some of this information. We know from lots of surveys and conversations that our new members are excited about marketing their business with BNI. They love what they've just invested in. We also know that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how this great system works. So we have passion on fire, and we need to give them some knowledge to keep that momentum going. We also know for our chapters and members to make more money that it's way more time and money to find new people than it is to keep the ones we have, especially once we're training. A lot of you may have faced that choice with your spouses as well. Easier to keep the one you've already trained than to try to go out and find somebody new. Works with horses, works with members. We just want to keep the ones we have to pass those referrals and build those relationships. We also know that in general, larger chapters tend to keep members longer and they pass more referrals. If they're working the BNI system, then they are going to make more money. Doesn't mean just have more people who are sitting there doing nothing will get you more money, but more people in the chapter who are following the system they invested in, it's going to make more money for people. And ultimately, we know in business and in BNI chapters, if we can increase the retention by just 5%, business revenue can increase between 25 and 95%. So let's keep those little doggies in the corral once we get them, teach them how to use the system, and then everybody can ride free on the range, as it were. Here are the topics we are going to cover today. These are the most helpful things in the beginning of a new member's membership. Member Success Program 2.0, we like to call it MSP. The Passport to Success, First Year Member Essentials, and I am very much looking forward to adding to this session time for you to go into breakout rooms and share some of the best practices for your own chapters in your regions, because I think that's what you like best. I'll get through all the stuff I have to say, and Gina will get through what she wants to say so that you can all talk to each other, because I know how much you like it. Let's start first with a poll. If you could help me there, partner, and put up that poll for people.
You got it. Here we go.
Multiple choice, choose all that apply. In which area are you most interested in getting information to help your new members? You might want all of them. You might be focused like a laser beam on just one or two of these. but how are you hoping to help your new members? As the mentor coordinators, this is crucial, and we want to help you with all of the tools that you need. So I see a lot of you are across the board. You all want help in lots and lots of things. Hey, you are in the right corral, because this is exactly what we're going to do in our training program. Yeehaw! Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, I see some good curiosity there. Got about 87, 88% participation. We'll just give it a few more seconds. All right, we're at 90%. Maybe that's as good as she gets. Shall we shut
All
her down?
righty. Here we go. Sharing the results. Wow,
Yeah.
it's really
Everything. Yeah, just all the things. Yeah. Okay, well, if you
we'll
didn't
take
choose
one of
all of them,
everything.
right, right. If you didn't choose everything, you're going to get a little bit of everything. And if you did, you're welcome. That's exactly what you'll get. So thank you for making that known. These are the 4 things that we're going to talk about today, so you can focus in on the things that you are hoping we talk about. All right. Let's talk first about MSP. When we talk to visitors and new members, we want to call it Member Success Program, because I don't know what MSP stands for. And so I'm going to just kind of set this up and let you know what has changed since November. And then I may have Gina talk a little bit about what we hope for with this program based on the changes that we've made. This is module 1 of 8 modules in the new Member Success Program 2.0. It's automatically assigned once members are inducted into your chapter and payment is processed and they are official in your chapter. We want them to complete Member Success Program Module 1 before they give their first feature presentation. We want this entry point to be as easy as possible, but also thorough. So you can see these are the 7 lessons within that first module, and the last one is your first feature presentation. So we would rather they didn't do their first feature presentation until we give them some pro tips on how to do that well. Gina, is there anything else you want to say about how this is set up before we kind of go through all of the different modules briefly?
No, I mean I want to say a couple of things about it though really quickly, and then I'll turn it back to Jenny. Number 1 is that learning is not an event, it's a journey. So training and learning, it's not an event, it's a journey. And so we have set this up as a new member learning journey so that our members can get what they need as they need it. And we are not overwhelming them with 39 years of here's how you do BNI. And so these are broken into small, digestible modules that will provide a new member with what they need at the right time, I hope. And the second thing is that the expert at anything was once a beginner, so help the new members give themselves a little bit of a break on learning all the stuff. Well, we've all been working on cracking the code over the years. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, we know we've all sat in places, and I just read a statistic today that said after an hour, we forget 50% of what we've just heard. And so if we are sitting at one time and trying to give our new members all that information they need to have a successful membership, they're going to forget half of it anyway. And after a day, they're going to forget 70%. After a week, they're going to forget even more. So we need to keep reintroducing these concepts. One of the best ways you can do that is with the Member Success Program Workbook, which I see has already been uploaded. Thank you, Gina. This is a great
did
resource.
upload the workbook. Sorry, I uploaded the handbooks, the director and chapter handbooks. Do you want me to upload the workbook? I can. I have it.
Yeah, if you've got it handy, that would be great. We have made all of these things available to you in a variety of places as well, but we are going to upload as much as we can here. So if you're on a device and you can't download any of the things that we are making available to you, please send me an email, jennybutts@bni.com, when this is over. I'm not going to be able to keep up on the chat. So if you can send me an email, that would be way more efficient and effective for you. But this Member Success Program Workbook is very helpful, and it's an additional resource to the handbook that has some questions and answers that Gina put into the chat already. This will be for the course of the new members' first 90 days or so. If we were going to break down the first year of a member's membership, we might want to talk about the first couple weeks, the first 90 days, and then leading up to their first 7-month check-in, and hopefully right away they will want to renew. But we want to make sure that we're giving them the information they need right away and then continue to drip the resources they need. This is a great one because it will help you as the mentor coordinator or the chapter success coach, if you're a coach on this call, help you check in with the new members for the first few weeks of their membership when they're feeling the most overwhelmed, but still the most excited. So we want to capitalize on that momentum. I'm going to just give you a brief overview of what's in the subsequent modules because I want you to see how important it will be for you to keep checking in with your new members because they don't want to miss out on this. We don't want them to do the first module and then say they're done, even though they can give their feature presentation. There's such valuable stuff in here that will help them in subsequent weeks. So you can see that week 2 has a really great succinct guide on how to have a great one-to-one, including where they can download the gains exchange and the best way to do that. You'll also see in this action item list that some of the one-to-ones that are included in the passport are also in the member success program. There's some overlap to make sure that those one-to-ones have context and they're working their way through the passport program. Building relationships and lifelong learning, two core values in one. Module 3 has information about giving your weekly presentation. So they're not standing up there and saying, well, my name is Jenny and I own a construction company and we just do anything. So if you need somebody who does construction, send them my way. We don't want to hear those over and over again. We want them to do really great weekly presentations. And then you can see a planning document that will be a good resource for them. Module 4 is going to talk about how to lead up to your feature presentation. Also talking about you've got some good documents in here for prospecting, who are your best clients, planning your feature presentation. That you've certainly sat through some feature presentations that were less than stellar. Let's help our new members do it well. You'll also have noticed probably in here, there are maybe a video here and there, a link to a podcast. This is how to grow your network. All of these are great resources because where else besides BNI or something like it are we going to learn specifically how to have strategic networks in our businesses? Module 6 is going to cover testimonials, referrals and testimonials. If we were in a room together and I said, show of hands, how many of you have heard during the I have section, a member say, well, I had really great lunch with Alexander the other day. Yeah, or I had a one-to-one with so-and-so, or I had, yeah, thanks for the thumbs down, Sandro. Yeah, exactly. We want to teach them what a referral and testimonial is good for, what they are good for. So let's not have it be, I have lots of other things. Hey, I had whatever. Don't get me started on this one. Module 7 is going to be about some of the websites. And I'll tell you, when we get to first year member essentials and talking about that on our surveys, almost every time someone says, I wish we had gone through more how to use BNI Connect. I don't know what BNI Business Builder is. We need to go through some of these websites. And then finally, a short last lesson, which will be great. What are the key skills workshops? Where can I find more resources? That is the overview of the MSP 2.0. And what we want to do is say, yay, you're done with module 1. We'd love to give you a feature presentation slot. Wouldn't it be great to have a really big deal for them when they complete all 8 modules? In fact, you might just go crazy and give them what? A certificate. Whoa, that's nutty. But this is something also that Gina is going to upload into the chat. If you want this fillable PDF for your future member success program completers, that you will be able to put in their name, your region, your chapter name, the date. You can see Dr. Meisner has already signed it for you, so that's no problem. But there is the MSP award certificate is a fillable PDF. And yes, Ricky, we will have access to this recording. Don't take notes while you're driving. You just absorb the 50% you can, and the part you forget, we will make sure you get the recording and the slide deck as well. All right, so that is, oh, that's a good question, Paige. Are we notified once they complete the MSP? What kind of conversations do our technology sources have with each other at this point, Gina? Can you speak into that a little?
It is my understanding that related to member success program that Business Builder does talk to BNI Connect, and it does update their training record, and it puts the ribbon on the homepage, their homepage in BNI Connect. So if you pull the training report, it is my understanding that it would show. Now it's about, I think there's a little bit of a lag, maybe 48 hours or so of a lag. But there is a conversation going on between Business Builder and BNI Connect just for member success program. Yeah. Ultimately, we want it to be for all CEUs to translate. We're not quite there yet, but member success program is there.
And Gina, will that is that being adjusted now that it will be completed after module 1 or after all 8 modules?
We do need to make an adjustment on that. We're in the process of separating the program out. So at this point, that is not done yet. I don't know if it will be done before April 1st. Business Builder of Skooks, the company that provides that learning management platform for us, is doing a massive software update, which is a really awesome thing. And it's going to give it some major revamp on functionality, user interface, a bunch of things. So anyway, but the bottom line is that for right now, it won't show complete to my knowledge until they finish all 8 modules. So.
Okay. And as just kind of a way to cover your bases, you also may want to just keep tabs on the time frame. So if they were to complete 1 module a week, for example, you may want to put a reminder on your phone to say, after 8 weeks, I'm going to check in with my new member and say, hey, how are you doing on the MSP? Or have everybody who does a one-to-one with them check in, because I think we can use technology and the relationship piece to help kind of usher them relationally to the completion that we're looking for. All right. Is there anything else before we move on to the passport? Is there anything else about MSP that we should cover from the Q&A or the chat, Gina, as we pause?
I'm just answering all the questions. I'm typing in as quickly as I possibly can. So,
yeah. Okay. Of course you are.
Corinne, so that's a great question. A couple of members that switched chapters after finishing member success program and their ribbon is lost and all of that. Their training record can be edited. Our recommendation organizationally is that if they have completed member success program within the last 2 years, it is not required for them to redo it when they transfer chapters. I would say, though, that because Member Success Program 2.0 literally just rolled out in November, I would invite them to do that learning journey, just because, as I said to someone earlier in the Q&A, we love it when people go back through Member Success Program, because I'm sure you guys realize that the longer we're in BNI, the more our perspective broadens. And then we hear something and we go, oh man, I missed that, you know, or wow, this is gold, right? And it's one little thing, but it's a game changer. So we would invite people in the spirit of lifelong learning and just, you know, getting new knowledge to complete 2.0, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, how many times have I read a book again that I taught when I was a high school English teacher, or that I read when I was in high school, and I'm like, this is brilliant. I never noticed this before, because we keep changing. So your business is always going to be in a different place. That's great advice. All right, let's shift our focus then to the passport to success. When I am talking to new members, I always talk to them about the passport to success. And I always find in the chat that people say, what is that? My chapter doesn't do that. And it makes me sad and breaks my heart a little bit. So I am hoping that you can help heal my broken heart by talking about this in your chapters and helping your new members. Let's talk about where you can find the passport, how we hope that you will use it in your chapters, and what kinds of things you can do for recognition upon completion. Again, the point of all of this is to help your new members feel connected and knowledgeable as soon as possible, because you want them to stay in your chapter. And the goal for all of that is so everybody can make more money and you can build the business that you're hoping to build. It's not about gaming the system for BNI and making Gina or me happy, although it does make us happy when you learn because we are trainers and we love learning, but it's really for your own benefit and for the benefit of everybody in your chapter. Because when your businesses succeed, that means your communities are succeeding. And I know I recognize some of your faces. I know where a lot of you live, and those communities can use what you are bringing in the way of economic growth. So let's talk about where to find the passport. We have currently electronic passports that we are using. We're very green right now, which is one of the upsides to a global pandemic. When you go into BNI Business Builder, you will go in that top bar to resources. You can see how I've pulled it out there. And you will find, if you just put in passport into that little search bar, it will take you right to a BNI passport that says now fillable, because it didn't used to be fillable. It had to stay empty. But now you can have it be fillable, and that's an electronic way that you can track with your new members with whom they have had their one-to-ones. The purpose of the passport is not only to give them bite-sized pieces of BNI knowledge, but also to guide them through having one-to-ones with member mentors that you have chosen. That way, they are building relationships little by little, and they are getting information little by little, instead of drinking from the fire hose in the first week and saying, great, now figure the rest out on your own. That's not very givers gain of us. So we want to keep them connecting to people. And this is another reason your member mentors should be chosen carefully, and you want to make sure they have all the information they need, so that when they have that one-to-one, they can cover things like how to find a good sub and what the attendance policy means, and where they can find good resources to contribute to their CEUs and lifelong learning. So make sure that those member mentors have a good sense of what their role is as well. So that's where you can find it, in BNI Business Builder under resources, passport, and then you can download it from there and share that with your new members to fill in as you go. To keep track of this, there is also a form that you can use, the Passport to Success New Member Tracker. And oh, look, Gina's put the passport right up there. Thank you, resource lady. You're the superhero of resources. This is a great way for you to put the new member's name at the top and then just check off every time they've had a one-to-one. You will want to communicate with the member mentors so that they can let you know, we had our one-to-one, this was really great, we covered this information. If everybody's talking to everybody, it's going to take a village, but we will get those new members up to speed. And within the first couple of months, they'll feel comfortable and they'll be able to ride without the tether on the horse. They'll just be able to go out onto the open prairie and ride their horses. So this is how we want to track it. These are the one-to-ones that are also in the MSP 2.0, and this is a good way. You can see a fillable PDF version of this is in BNI core regions under the leadership teams. Is this also in BNI Business Builder, Gina? Would you say that this tracker is in Business Builder?
I suspect that it is somewhere. I will go in and double check and make sure that we have a core regions folder for leadership team resources.
Okay.
And so I can make sure, I'm pretty sure that we uploaded it all there when we did leadership training.
Okay.
But we can double check.
Okay, and we can certainly get it for you. Anything on this call that you want more information about, all you need to do is email me after and just give me a bullet list of resources I can help you with, and I would be glad to do so. All right, so I'd love to hear from you in the chat, or if you have something very specific, as it is connected to the Passport to Success very specifically, what is working for you in your chapters? If you are part of a legacy of a long line of successful and illustrious mentor coordinators, what is your chapter doing for the Passport to Success? Lots of people start this, and way fewer actually complete it. So I would love to know what your chapters are doing, what your regions are doing, what's the culture, so that we can see what's working and what's not working. Communicate often. That's good, Sandy. You want to communicate often with the new members because they may feel embarrassed to reach out to you. So even just to check in, maybe once a week to say, do you have any questions? How's everything going? Yeah, Heather, that's such a great idea because sometimes the member mentors think, yeah, I'll do that, I'll do that. But then they forget if you haven't had a new member for a little while. So those reminders are probably good. Yeah, it could be that easy. I love that. Just check in. How's it going? How's the passport? Oh, that's right. I need to do the passport. Encouragement. Yep, setting expectations. That's good. Oh, Steve, I love that. Your entire chapter is doing it. Can you unmute and tell me how that came to be? I think that's such a great idea. Steve Forkey, can you unmute and tell us what's the story behind the story? Are you shy? That's fine. Okay. All right. Ask and follow up. Yep. Yep. Monthly power team meeting. Oh, that's so good for the onboarding. What a great idea. Connect with those mentors. Group passport trainings. Yeah. Now is a perfect time to think about how you want to do this because we have membership extravaganza coming up. I don't know how to say it any other way, but membership extravaganza will begin April 1st, and we are going to have a focus because spring is a time we think about growth. We are going to have a time to focus on growing chapters. And if you have big visitor events, some sort of a growth event or contact sphere event, we want to be sure that once you get those new members inducted, we don't drop them like a hot potato. So we want to have a follow-up system in place for them. A checklist. Thank you. That's great. A checklist is really good. With the passport, a checklist. Yes. A Google spreadsheet. How great. Then everybody has access to it. That's a really good idea, Dina. I like that. All right. Oh, you're having mic issues. Okay, Steve. Well, if you have any other thing that you want to add here into the chat, I want to hear more. A spreadsheet. Don't we love a good spreadsheet? Want to curl up with it at night and just hold it close because you love it so much? I know that's how I feel about my spreadsheets. All right. Okay. You have assigned MSP 2.0 to the whole chapter. Oh, yes, yes, Judith. Yes, that's my favorite thing. So good. All right. Okay. Well, now hopefully you might want to give a little check here. If you can save the chat, look how long you are going to have to just go through all of these really great ideas. So great. And if you can't, you're going to email me. I have a feeling my email is going to fill up like to 1,000 before we're done here because people just send me an email. That's good. That's my job. That's my job. All right. So passport to success. And once again, recognition is one of our core values. So we want to be sure we have a plan. And I hope that we have somebody on the call in just a little while when we are sharing some best practices and stories I know of chapters around the country. I hope that we are going to have somebody share a really cool way. But at the very least, guess what? A certificate. You get to have a certificate to give to. There are people who love certificates. If you go to the store and you get those dollar frames and you put it in there and give them a certificate and make a really big deal, that's what you need. My husband often says, doesn't B and I understand, Jenny, that they wouldn't even have to pay you if they just told you you were doing a good job and got you Starbucks gift certificates. I said, yeah, that's probably true. Just say, good job, give me an A, give me an A. I love it. Some people love recognition. Some people, they don't want it. You just slip it to them quietly. That's fine if they just want to stay behind the scenes. But we want to acknowledge when it's finished. Recognition means that the whole chapter sees this is something that matters to us. When your visitors are there and you do recognition for completion, they are reminded this is a system, this is a business organization, and it makes your group and the BNI system even more appealing to your visitors. Yes, I totally would work harder for recognition, Sandro. You're absolutely right. More than money. All right. Any questions or extra comments about the passport? I want to move on to first year member essentials so that we can get to the part where you all chat with each other.
And I'm
Anybody
continuing to
else?
answer questions. So
I know you. You're the best.
keep rolling.
Okay. All right. Moving on. First year member essentials. This is my baby. I love this. I love this program because our new members love this program. That's what makes it so wonderful. This is a 1 hour webinar that I am doing with any new members the second Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. and the fourth, oh, I don't have to remember, it's right there, and the fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Your calendars have these built out all the way to the end of 2024, all of your regional calendars. Now, I don't have very many registrations because those people haven't joined your chapter yet. So they are not going to see them until after they've been inducted. And then I send an email to everybody and you can be telling them and inviting them. So when you have your first conversation with a new member, you can be saying, oh, we're so excited. We have lots of things to get you started. Little by little by little, you'll get the system, not to worry. A great thing for you to do is to find a date that this 1 hour webinar works for you. So many great resources. So that is something that I would recommend if you haven't, as the mentor coordinator, I would recommend you get on one of these webinars with me, and then you can see what you would be recommending. And there may even be highlights that you want to talk to them about before or after. This is what we cover: how they can grow their business. What about those websites, BNI leaders, acronyms like CEUs, and what counts as a CEU and what doesn't. Pro tips for weekly and feature presentations, and then I send them off with some homework, because I will tell you, one message I do not want our new members to hear or believe is that they won't see any value from their membership until 6 to 12 months. People say that. They do, and they shouldn't. Because what we want is for our new members to experience some value in their membership right away. And so that's what we cover on the first year member essentials call. And almost all of them, I would say 99 out of 100, we probably almost had 100, we do them a lot, are led by me. So they are hearing from the same deck, from the same person, the same information, and I'm injecting them back into your chapters. So when someone says, I was on this webinar with this old lady who talked about A, B, or C for new members, do we do that in this chapter? I'm the old lady. So make sure that you have those conversations around some of the best practices. This is how often they are getting the emails from me. I send an email on the first of the month to every member who is in a chapter, who's new to a chapter in the last 60 days. Sometimes when I'm casting my net on the open seas of our new members through BNI Connect, I also catch a few people who have changed classifications or they've switched chapters. And usually I hear from them saying, I'm not new at all. And I say, you should come anyway, but you don't have to. Nobody has to, it's not required. You as members don't work for us, we work for you. Then I send another email the day before the first webinar and a day before the second webinar at the end of the month. And I usually see about 100 registrations from those last minute emails because your new members have just joined and they didn't know what they didn't know. And so we have about 1,100 to 1,500 new members in BNI US Core every month, believe it or not. So even conservatively, if we see 1,000 new members, I'm getting probably 30% of those on these calls. So we are starting to get this new information little by little from your new members into the chapters. So if you're not sure what the latest and greatest is, ask a new member who's been on this. And I take attendance and send this to your coaches so you'll know which of your new members have been on the calls. And we are working with your coaches how to follow up with those new members when they say we'd like some more information. And then I give them the slide deck and a follow-up email with instructions about how to enter their CEUs the day after the webinar. So I am going to take care of your new members from my end, and I would love to help you take care of your new members from your end. And if you're wondering what those new members are telling us, because I have a survey at the end of these, so I've gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of survey. They have questions about the websites. So whoever is your member mentor about websites and technology, that is something they are particularly hungry for. So make sure that member mentor is up to speed on the latest and greatest. They also want to know how to do a good weekly and feature presentation. Maybe you don't remember this, but when a lot of members are new, they're afraid to stand up in front of people and speak. They don't know what to say. They don't want to look stupid. They want to impress you. And so any reassurance you can give them at the beginning of their membership will be really, really valuable. And also, when people come to this webinar, they are more likely to renew. We have measured across the US, about 42% of new members renew at the first year. That means we're losing more than we're keeping in the first year. But of the people who take this, we have 49%. So we are seeing a huge increase just from people who have this one webinar under their belts. So we think it's making a difference, and we would love for that to show up in your chapters. And finally, we know that from the most recent survey we did of 2 years worth of data, 7% of the people who took this did it more than once. One guy did it 6 times, stayed on all 60 minutes every time. So I told that person in Connecticut, that's your next chapter success coach and #1 member. All right. So before we go to breakout rooms, I want you to hear from a couple of chapters that are doing really cool things I haven't mentioned, so that you can get some ideas for your own chapters in addition to the things that BNI has already provided for you. I'm going to pause before I start asking you questions, Sandro, because you're up next. And I just want to see if there's anything, if you want to give your fingers a break from typing feverishly, Gina, is there anything that we need to discuss before we move on to the next time?
I mean, there's questions about, Amy wants to know, what's the title of the email that you send to the new member? So what's in the subject line, I guess, would be the question.
But that's a good question. The one that I send at the beginning of the month, the subject line is new to BNI, ? What is essential to succeed?
And then I've answered several questions. So just so you guys know, unfortunately, because of the limitations in the system, there is no way for us to be able to CC the coach on that email, simply because we have no way of cross-referencing it. So we get that question a lot, and we're not able to do that. There was another question, Jenny, about where the first year member essentials recordings are housed once do they live somewhere?
I don't record them.
Oh,
a
okay.
recording of a live webinar is far less
asking.
effective. And it's the same information that we cover in lots of other ways in BNI. This is just an extra way for them to get it in one sitting. So I haven't recorded them because we do them so often every month. And if they don't get to it, then the same information is available for you. So if you want to make that available, that kind of information available to your new members, I recommend you register for one of them, and then you will have the deck. And you may want to share the slide deck with your member mentors, and you can use it to say, hey, I don't know if you were able to get on this call with Jenny Butts or not, but these are some of the topics. Do you have questions about any of these things, knowing that that's what all of the new members who are on the webinar will talk about? What else?
That's it right now. Everything else
Okay.
I've answered.
All right.
Typing. Oh, Heather wants to know where they can get this recording. Are you posting it on the YouTube channel as well, where we posted the other one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
BNI USA YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, I'm just now looking at, oh yeah, it's recording. Wouldn't that be terrible? We're 40 minutes in.
I hit the record button for you.
That's why you're my best cowpoke.
I've got your back.
All right. All righty. I would like to introduce to you the former president, and now, Sandro, are you now the mentor coordinator or visitor host? What's your role in your chapter?
I'm currently the education coordinator.
Education coordinator. Okay. Currently the education coordinator, but very, very actively involved in making sure that their rapidly growing chapter keeps the new members they have. And because it's a big chapter, because they have lots of new members, they are trying to make some systems around it. And these systems are working and they're so great. So would you tell us a little bit, Sandro, about this new member breakfast? I know it's a new thing for you and you're just starting it, but how did it come about and what are you doing with new members?
It came about from a suggestion from a member about kind of what you mentioned earlier about the new members talking about drinking from a fire hose. There was a lot there. And in response to that, we decided to, and I was not involved in the creation of this. I don't want to take that credit. I was asked to facilitate it. But we just kind of sit down with new members. We treat them to a breakfast. And the first one we did, which was last month, we did kind of a question and answer thing. We had some frequently asked questions that we know people come up with, and then we allowed members to ask any question that they had. We did change it a little bit this time. We just finished one today, and we went in there with one set topic. So we did about 15 minutes of question and answer, and then today's topic was how to maximize your BNI Connect profile. So this is something that we talk about, mentors talk about, but there is a way to maximize it where it's more effective than if you just do it. So we kind of use what's already in BNI Connect, use what the mentor coordinators are already talking about, but kind of add the frosting to it, so to speak. I mean, what good is cake without frosting? Personally, I think that's yucky. But frosting all the way. In fact, I'd rather just have the frosting. Please let me get off the frosting. Anyway, so what we did is we talked about how do you fill that out? How do you do the profile? How do you make sure the account settings are correct so your information appears to everyone? Because that's something that I see happens a lot where people have their information hidden but don't even know it. And how do you put something in the My Business section that's actually written in the way a real commercial is done? I've studied marketing for years. And so we taught something. We had a workshop and actively went around with the members and made sure they had that complete. Because one of the things that we do see is members often don't have their BNI profile complete, or it's done, but kind of like a lot of LinkedIn profiles. It's okay. It'll get by. But this is, one place that you can advertise your business and it's part of your membership. Why not make it the best that it could be? So going forward, we're going to continue having a topic, but the first part will be for newer members to learn and ask any kind of questions that they have. And then we'll cover one specific topic next week. Next month will be how to give that member presentation, that 30-second, 45 seconds, whatever you have, how to actually break it down and what's the formula for it, because there is a set formula. So we're providing that for our members. I will say that we are likely going to be changing the name because what happened is in our area, and I suggest this I know there's people from around the country, not every chapter is going to have several new members every month. So that sounds like it might not be something that's doable. However, if whatever area you're in, you may have other chapters in your region. So what we did this time is we opened this up to all the chapters in our region. We are the largest in our region. We have 65 members. So we want to help the other chapters that are smaller and maybe don't have as many new people. We wanted to bring them in because that's good for us. It's good for our new members. There's some networking that gets done there. And then we cover this topic. So we're likely going to be calling it Breakfast and Learn from now on, because we had members that came that have been members for a while that just wanted to get that extra frosting, Jenny. So that seems to be working so far. We only did, this is our second one, and it was very effective. We had folks there from other chapters, and everybody left with a strong BNI Connect profile.
I love that because it is good for the whole region when more people are doing business the way you're doing business. Right. And we want people to do business this way because we're changing the way the world does business. Absolutely. And I got to be at that first one that you did last month, and it was great to see how many people were there. I'm sure that people are wondering now, does your chapter have a budget for this to know that you're going to be buying breakfast for a certain number of people every week?
Yes. One of the advantages of having a larger chapter is we have more discretionary funds within the chapter. So last month we did the breakfast, but this month we had to actually pay for a venue because we had more people. And so we have budgeted that. And we know that if we keep our numbers the way they are, that we're able to do that. We're not asking any of the other chapters to contribute to the venue. We just ask the folks in other chapters to pay for their own breakfast because we want to make sure we're being wise with the funds of the chapter. But it is part of our chapter's budget. Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And there are tons of questions coming in here into the chat. So if you have a moment to answer them, great. If you wouldn't mind maybe putting your contact information. I know you only check your email twice a day because I get your return emails and I think that's brilliant. But if there's a different way that maybe people could get that information from you, maybe you and I could get together, you could do an FAQ document, or we'll do something, because I know people will want more information about this. And I see that they have lots and lots of things coming here. So,
okay, I will throw information on there.
Great. And lots of conversations about frosting. So
yes, and gluten-free cinnamon rolls.
So thanks for that, Sandro.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me contribute.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, so that's just one idea that they are doing in the Portland area. Sandro's chapter that started that. I don't know if there is anybody on this call from BNI 212 in Gainesville. We kind of went back and forth with some email, and I'm not sure. Is there somebody from that chapter on today's call from BNI 212? Because they have kind of a cool thing going on. And if not, then I'll just tell you. And you can think about it while you're licking some frosting. They have a really great thing. When the passport is completed, they have made for their chapter a Black graduation gown with the BNI logo stitched on it and their chapter name beneath it, and a mortarboard hat. And they give the certificate wrapped up like a scroll with a red ribbon around it, and they have a graduation ceremony when someone finishes their passport. But there are pictures that go up on the Florida websites and various places I've seen of new members standing with their little diplomas, and they've got their robes on, and it says BNI. It's so great to put on social media. It makes the new members feel special, and that should be happening about 2 months into their membership. So now they've established some relationships and they're ready to stretch their wings and fly as independent members. But I wish we had some pictures, or I wish we had them to tell us a little bit about it. But if you want to see them on Facebook or try to find them on Instagram, BNI 212 in Gainesville, Florida, you will probably see some pictures. It's a one-time investment, a great thing to use your dues for. The people are paying your dues. If you have an in-person chapter, I guess you could do it if you're online. You might have to make a special background for the people or something. But a really fun idea, a one-time investment. You wear it for the picture, take it off, the president takes it, and you use it for the next new member. But a lot of fun, and I just wanted to make sure that we mentioned that one. All right. We have very short time to do some breakout rooms, and I wonder if we want to just take 10 minutes, then come back and wrap up, because I would love for you just to be completely overwhelmed with all the notes I'm sure you're taking when you hear from one another about what is the most important information for your new members. When do you connect with them? How are you already doing it? Is it working? Do you need some help? And what's one thing you might start today to implement to make sure that your new members are starting well? I see some of you have to go. I totally understand that. We have had a really great turnout, and I hope this was valuable for you. Gina, you're always a really great partner and you read these really well. Do you think it'd be better if we just had some open discussion and people put in the chat the answers rather than the time to break out and come back?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we've only got about 10 minutes left. So I think probably that's the best course of action, is just let's have a group chat. That would be my...
Yeah, a big campfire instead of little campfires.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, if you have a question, if you have something to contribute along the lines of these questions, now is a great time. If you a bonfire, yes, Renee, that's perfect. What are some of the things in these questions that you would want help from? How are you connecting with your new members? Is your coach involved? If you are a coach, how are you supporting the mentor coordinator in the chapters that you are supporting? What are some of the things that we can help you with? Because help us, help you, help them. That's how this is going to go. A one-to-one when the new member joins. Yes, I think that's so great, Ryan. And I don't know what your role is. And Matthew saying, me too. Is your role as the mentor coordinator or your role as the chapter success coach? I think both are important. Both are part of the passport. Yes, Rajika, is that right?
Yeah, thank you so much. This was really helpful. I am in Northern Virginia and our chapter is 100% online.
Okay.
We did have a director consultant, but now we've gone back to corporate. So all of this is new for me, and for our chapter to get reacclimated. But I had a couple of questions of how to find out who our CSC is, because this is the first time I've heard of that. And then would love to attend your training so I can better help our new members, because we've just been going off what we had from the old system. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be great for any of the members, but especially mentor coordinators in your chapters. You are in Virginia North, right? You were in Dip Chandra's region. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
And Dip and I have worked a little bit together, so I know that that would be a really great way for all of the members in those chapters to go, okay, this is what it is to be part of the core of BNI. You may have the same support director you had before, they just changed the name. You wouldn't necessarily get a new person. So that's probably a good question you could ask your managing director. So if you want to write to Steve Garcia, you could just write Steve Garcia at bni.com, and he would be able to get all of the changes for you. What's different now from the way it was before.
Jenny, and if I may, for anyone on this call who wants to know who their chapter success coach is, the moniker that is used in some regions is director consultant. Those terms are interchangeable. The role is the same. In the US Core, we call it the chapter success coach. If you pull your chapter roster report, which every member has access to, so you just go into BNI Connect and pull the chapter roster report, it will give you a full roster and it will show who your director consultant is with their contact information on that report. So for anyone who wants that information, that is a quick, easy way for you to find it.
That's great. Thank you, Gina. It's also on the regional websites. When you just look at your chapters, at the very bottom, it'll say who your chapter success coach is.
Yep. You said it was Steve Garcia at bni.com?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I did, Gina, I did go on my chapter. I didn't see our CSC listed. So
Steve will
there may
help
not
you.
be anybody assigned yet. Yeah. So then your next best course of action is to check with Steve, definitely.
Yeah. And he's very nice as a bonus. Any other things in here? I saw Tracy found a picture.
Hey, Jenny, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my name's Dan McCarthy. I'm new to BNI. I joined in October, and I'm like super, super happy to be chapter success coach come Monday officially. So I went like all in on BNI. I love BNI. I just want like general like I'm still trying to like learn the tricks of the trade, like so to speak. Like any advice you could give me, because like I, like I'm not nervous, but I'm kind of nervous, but like nervous is good, right? And I think I know I can add a ton of value to a lot of the chapters that Ebony is going to assign to me. I'm located in Boston, Mass, just so you guys know. And yeah, I don't know, just like any feedback or like any advice you could give me, because like it's from the people I've talked to, um, lot of the CSCs are tenured, right? I'm not tenured. And I feel like, they look at me like I'm not validated. And I'm like, no, wait, no, like I am more than capable of doing this job and I want to do this job. And
Yeah,
I don't
think,
know. Just
Dan, I think
I
you
don't
have
have a
probably.
question. I just kind of wanted to air it out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I don't think there's a piece of information that you're missing that will be an obstacle for you. I think the key is what Gina mentioned at the beginning of our call, that learning is a journey. It's not a one-time thing. So that's why Gina and I are constantly putting together new trainings, because if we forget a portion of what we learned, we're going to need to learn it in a new way so that it's a little bit stickier. So I think when you see things coming up that are additional training, I would sign up for them. I would just continue to just be all in with BNI, with your members, with Ebony and her team. And I think you will succeed. You will be very, very successful, happy with your membership. Gina.
Awesome. And we will. Go, Ebony.
There's a question that came up here in the Q&A, and I suspect that Chris is not the only one who has this question. So I would like for us to maybe have a quick discussion out loud. It says, I've got 2 members who joined 2 months ago, and they both just keep saying they don't have time to do MSP, etc. Nothing seems to be working. What's the golden nugget to get them to realize they're not building credibility? Before we answer the question, I'm going to say one thing about this. I encourage, invite, recommend all the things that you go into the chapter operations manual and you utilize the applicant interview questions when you are bringing on new members, and you set a very clear expectation that completing member success program is an essential element to their success and maximizing their ROI and BNI. BNI isn't just a 90-minute meeting. There are a number of things that happen outside the meeting that drive member success. So to me, part of it is setting the expectation up front. And maybe that is part of it. But I would love to hear if you guys have had this situation, any of you, and you have overcome it in some way. I see one hand up. Anybody else? Yeah. All right, there's a bunch of hands up. Did we lose Jenny?
No, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. All right.
I'm enthralled every time you speak, Gina. I don't know how to respond. Is it Maji?
Yes, it's Maggie. Actually, I just wanted to let everybody know that I did put our checklist in the chat if you wanted, to see it.
So that's great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Cindy or Sandy or Renee, do you have something that pertains to what Gina was just talking about, like how to go back to that? Yeah, Cindy, what can you add?
I think with the question of overwhelm and I like to break it into low-hanging fruit and just help them kind of take that swirl of overwhelm and just kind of go, wait, no, it's okay. Show up and do a one-to-one. That's your juice, and just the things that really matter. And for me, sorting through all the emails, like start with the fast 5. That'll give you the nuggets. So to me, it has been helpful to just nuggetize it down to low-hanging fruit.
Nuggetize, new word. I like it. Yeah. And in regards to having new members do the things that we know are successful, it is a fine line and good conversations to have among your chapter, maybe with your chapter success coach, if you are the mentor coordinator. How do we move people toward understanding that BNI is working on their business? It's not taking time away from their business. So to complete the MSP, it'd be the same as if you joined a gym and they said, we want you to read this booklet on nutrition, and we want you to take 3 classes this first week so that you can get up to speed on how to use the gym and how to meet your fitness goals. And they said, don't tell me what to do. Why did you join this gym? We have to remember that they are doing it for their business. The bottom line is some people just won't hear anything they don't want to hear. But if we can help them to see, these are the things successful members do to make money. Do you want to be successful and make money? Let me help you. It's here. It's going to take you 50 minutes, 50 minutes to do the first module so that you can give your feature presentation. Let's find 50 minutes in your schedule to make your business successful. And then maybe people can see that differently. Renee, what would you add?
We had a extremely situation where there were lots of excuses swirling around And so I got with my MD, managing director, and I offered on a Sunday to sit with the individual and do her first module with her on Zoom.
Yeah.
And it all went away. All of her technology issues, everything went away. And she sat down and did the entire first module all by herself. But she appreciated that I, as the mentor coordinator and CSC, would take my Sunday to match her schedule to sit with her and hold her hand for the first module. And she was fine after that. I think it's also a mind shift of sharing and not telling them. And I think it's coming alongside of them and sharing all the potential of all the information that has been put out there by BNI business builders, and it's there for them to use to grow their business. And when you center that around them, they tend to lock in a lot better if they're not learning based right away.
Connect it to their business. Absolutely. As many times as we can. Let's finish up with Justin and Gal, and then I'm just going to give you the most inspirational quote ever.
All right. Yeah. So my thoughts, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but perfect. So my thoughts are, I haven't actually experienced anybody being outright defiant about, finishing the MSP or anything like that. I am, however, a fitness coach, and so overcoming these kind of things is something that I do pretty often. And so I feel like a lot of these solutions here have been kind of based around how do I motivate this person to do the things that they agreed to do. I just kind of wanted to provide a different um, kind of lens to look at that would be, I think a lot of times people are demotivated. So how do we help people by removing these demotivating factors? So is it something that the MSP, maybe you don't make time for it because you're confused by how the website works or how these apps work, or, I don't have time to listen to podcasts because I have to like focus on my job. So I think kind of on a case by case basis, as the mentor coordinator, is really looking at those and how do we kind of overcome these obstacles, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And I'm in fitness. I'm sure you are doing that a lot with your clients. No
Yeah.
kidding.
Like I said, I'm just a big believer that people joined the group because they were motivated. They want to make money. It speaks to everybody. So it's not a matter of motivation. It's more overcoming the obstacles and removing those from the people's path. So
yeah, I like that. Thanks a lot. Gal, the most profound thing has to be right now. No pressure.
I don't know if it's profound, but it's definitely kind of like oh yeah. So definitely setting up the expectations, like you said in the interview. But if you're telling me you don't have time to invest in BNI, do you have time for my referrals? Do you have time for my business? Do you have time for my questions? I mean, this is really what we do here. So if this is not your priority, how are you going to treat my referrals? And I think if you put that in their mind, that will just make them, okay, I got to show up.
Yeah. Always go back to why. What are we hoping for? Why are we doing this? That's such a great point, Gal. Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, we had lots of questions and ideas, so thank you for that. Here are some next steps that you may consider, and you may have your own. Talk to your president. The chapter success meetings are a great time to flesh these kinds of things out. Hey, this is what I learned. Can we talk about this at our next chapter success meeting? Reach out to your new members. Maybe you say, I'm going to copy and paste one email. Do a quick parts in Outlook so that you just send it every time. Just insert quick parts, boom, and you make it efficient for yourself. Choose one thing. It's the beginning of the month. It's only the 6th of March. Choose one thing and say, this will be the thing I do in March. Don't try to do everything, because then you'll be overwhelmed and your new members won't have anybody to go to. So pick one thing. I am going to send this deck to you. I am going to make the recording available so that you can go back and pore over it over and over again. Let's wrap this up. I've taken 5 extra minutes of your day. I'm so grateful. Do what you can with what you've got where you are. Your GPS needs to know where you start before it takes you where you want to go. You are where you are. That's the only place you can start. So do what you can with what you've got where you are and help one member at a time. And that's how we change the way the world does business. Thank you so much for what you do in your chapters and for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
This just gets better. Do we going to have roundup number 3?
Oh, I bet we will. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.
Gina.
Fabulous.